Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast. The #1 show to bring you all things Club America and English.
Oh, what a strike! Club America!
Your hosts for today are Ivan Pineda, Cristian Rosendo, Alexis Juarez, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Go! Now let's hit the field and start the show.
America! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today we're talking all things Lady Aguilas. We're going to be recapping that draw against Pumas in the Clásico Capitolino. And, of course, we're going to be looking ahead into the future as we prepare you guys for the road game ahead for our ladies this Sunday against FC Juarez. And joining me today, as always, is our Lady Aguilas expert, none other than Brooklyn's very own AJ. AJ, how are you, my friend?
Doing good. Just ready to talk everything about Lady Aguilas today. Because Capitalino, not the result I wanted, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. We'll get into it in just a second. But like we mentioned, some pretty interesting stuff going on around the world of Lady Aguilas, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But glad that we can finally talk. Again, not the result we wanted. Let's just jump right into it. Pumas came into this game and got right back into it after we thought we potentially had this one in the bag, AJ. So the first couple of minutes, I don't know, how would you describe them? How would you describe the first 45 for America Femenil?
We had our chances. Just overall, we just really couldn't connect passes. Because I'm just looking at the statistics. Like, our passing was not the greatest in this game. Just most of the players just going below 80% in their passing, which is not what you want to see compared to what Pumas are doing. And considering we really did not have as much possession as we wanted, just all in all was not a good look. Especially when no goals were scored in that first half. So,
yeah, again, we kind of fall on the premises of a tale of two halves for Harrington's side. It seems to be the case that, we're not being clinical. And I think that's what's really hurting us at the end of the day. Yes, granted, we get 2 goals up. And then what we were hailing to be such a good, strong defense ended up, kind of buckling towards the last couple of minutes. I mean, you're going into a very good 2-0 advantage. And then in the 75th minute of the match, they get a goal in Pumas. And then from there on, I think you see that America's just unable to hold the lead. I mean, what went wrong for you in that second half? I mean, obviously we get the goals, and we'll talk about them in just a second, because obviously we did something right in order to get 2 past Pumas. But what just went wrong?
These substitutions really do not make sense. I'm not understanding why we're having a lead. Keep that lead. There's no resource to score any more goals, especially when we weren't doing great on the passing. And possession-wise, we were just struggling. You just feel like Pumas are having the ball more than us, which clearly see. They just had more than us. But Harrington's really just got to understand that, you got to make some smart substitutions. If you know that we don't need to score any more goals, you could bring in some defenders on and take the offensive players out. Simple as that. I mean, it did hurt that as well that Ava Gonzalez did come out injured, when really she's the whole focal point in the midfield and keeps everything together. She's like your center mid and your CDM. She keeps everything a whole. And when she was gone out of the equation in midfield, everything just seems to crumble. We look really weak there, and it goes to show.
Yeah, I mean, I think Craig even got asked about that, because the team just looked a little bit dysfunctional whenever Eva leaves the midfield, and I think that's something that we really need to patch up, because we can't rely solely on one player to hold everything down for us, right? This team has to work as a unit, and it's something that we were praising them, and they come into this game and they drop points. I think the most frustrating thing about that is not the fact that we get the draw against Pumas, which I really do think we should have walked away with a W. It's, again, dropping points at home, and it's something that we mentioned that this season, the Azteca had to be a fortress for this side, and yet we've already dropped a total of 5 points? I mean, the loss against Toluca and then now the draw against Pumas, that's 5 points that have gone and escaped you that in theory could have catapulted you higher in the league table.
Yeah, no, it's a shame, really, especially when you're finally getting to play at the Estadio Azteca. And like you mentioned the word fortress, that's what it needs to be, because we cannot be dropping points like this. Like Clásico Capitalino, we had it in the bag. We should have walked away with this. And then just seeing the 2 goals that we conceded, it leaves a lot of Americanistas angry, honestly. For me, it's that I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed because we let an opportunity like that just walk away. as is, and we end up going with the draw. And you just cannot afford that, especially when it's against your rivals in a Clásico.
Yeah, and the frustration is, I think, the overall term that I think everyone can agree at. It's not that the fact that we're riling and we're like hashtag, Craig out. I think it's
Mhm.
more of like what went wrong. I think the blame is shared equally distributed throughout the pitch. I mean, you're looking at players on the pitch, you're looking at the manager, you're looking at the substitutions who came in. The blame is distributed equally. I think that this side had the capability of making a much better game out of this than they actually did. We talked about the chances that were missed. I feel like we're missing players like a Ribeiro, like a um, uh, Kiana, players
Mhm.
who have the ability to kind of score in situations where you need them to score. I think we're missing Kiana a lot, to be honest. Um, we need her on the pitch as soon as possible. Promising signs that she might be back soon. Angel, you'll have an update on that a
Mhm.
little bit later. But again, frustrating game overall because you're thinking, oh, you're walking away with 3 points at the Estadio Azteca against Pumas, and then all of a sudden you fold and you buckle, and now you're just like, well, I guess a draw will suffice. But I mean, did you see anything promising from this side after conceding a goal? Because I think the most important thing that I look at whenever we do concede is not just how we concede, but the reaction afterwards as well.
I mean, we did press. You see, in the very beginning of the second half, we were just getting our goals left and right, which is great. As soon just 3 minutes in, Dani Espinosa scored, which is what you always like to see. Sorry, Libra getting her first assist, so props to her on that. And then 53rd minute, just as well, just 7 minutes later, once it gets herself on the score sheet, that's great. But it just seems like at that point, just because we're like a 2-0 lead, you always want to score more, but still you have to be very careful. When Pumas got that goal, we just look a little bit disorganized, really. I mean, props to Laura Herrera though. That was a good goal on her part, but just that second goal, I had no idea what happened right there. Really, Machete just looked over that ball. Seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it cost us because of that. We still pressed though, which is good. If they know we don't got a goal, let's score a goal, and that's what they did. So that's good on them. Fighting spirit, really.
Fighting spirit, yet it wasn't enough, and I think that's the context of what we have to take away from this. Like you mentioned, I think the substitutions were very much more questionable than anything. Look, we know Craig isn't perfect, and he wasn't going to be perfect throughout the entire of the season. But maybe this is a game where whilst we do look at it as 2 points lost, maybe it's a learning curve for both, player and manager. And now we're looking at this one as a possibility to maybe shape things differently going forward, and maybe Craig can, tweak some of his alternations. And I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. But it is disappointing at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Just really hope he learns his lesson in this one. And really, for these upcoming Clásicos as well, just know you cannot drop points, especially if they're going to be at home, because you don't want to really let the opposition let it also treat it like their home and just mop the floor with you. Don't want that.
Yeah, and I mean, again, a game in where you're the heavy favorite, 3 points were vital, and now you're looking at how is this potentially going to hurt us down the road type of situation. And again, we have to wait and see to find the answer to that question. But unfortunately, as things stand, America drops 2 vital points at home, and I think that's the
Mhm.
narrative, and that's the thing we're going to take away from this. But again, not to say that all hope is lost, and not to say that our season is in shambles because of it. I just think gotta find some more consistency in that back line whenever you're trying to close out games, not having some of these hiccups. Defense, goalkeeper wise, 90 minutes of full concentration is what we ask of them,
Mhm.
and I feel like at most we get 80, and I think that's what worries me.
Look,
But we'll see.
we're almost getting to that. We're essentially at the halfway mark at this point. You want to be playing 100% throughout the entire match. No 95, no 90, no 85, none of that. You want to play solid for the full 90. So,
And we'll see if we ever get the full 100, well, for the full 90, 100% of, focus and determination from these ladies. But again, not the end of the world.
Mhm.
but it is concerning the way that we let our lead slip. And I think, you know, got to work on that. And hopefully, this game against Juarez coming up is something that we can kind of, again, rectify ourselves from, the mistakes that were made in last week's game. But we'll have to wait and find out. We'll talk about that game in just a second. But AJ, anything else to kind of take away from this game at all?
No, I think we just about said everything that we need to say for this match.
Yeah, and that's the thing with these games. It's like you know what happened. It's kind of obvious, and you kind of have to just patch up these mistakes and move it forward. And I do hope that we're willing and capable of making sure that these things are patched up and good to go for the next game. But all right, AJ, before we move on into the next segment, I do want to remind everyone that today's episode is brought to you by Foot Cult. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys check out footcult.com. Use the discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off. Again, that is discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off all Foot Cult products. AJ, I got to say this, man. They got some great merchandise going on right now, and they are starting to ship out, whether it's their shorts, their the new jersey lineup. I mean, these guys are doing some amazing things. And if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys go check out footcult.com. And look, I'm just gonna put this out there in the world. America's anniversary is coming up next month. Will the Eagle Eye Podcast and Foot Call drop something for that? I don't know. That'd be a good idea. So I'd save the date for that one if I were you, and make sure you guys use that discount code as well. All right. So again, thank you to Foot Call for sponsoring today's episode, and as always, support them. Follow them on Twitter. Follow them on Instagram. They are doing some amazing, amazing stuff out there. But all right, AJ, moving on into our next segment, and that is any updates in and regards to the world of Coapa for our ladies. Injury updates. Is Kiana going to be back anytime soon? Do we have an update on Ribeiro? What happened? Do we have any more injuries? Is Eva okay? What is going on?
Really, as Craig mentioned in his press conference, that that it sucked just seeing Ava Gonzalez get injured when she's really the person that keeps that entire midfield intact, but nothing yet really of her. With Ribeiro, she's still injured, but there are some falls of her, in rehab, just training. So that Kiana's training day by day. She's hoping to get the team as soon as possible. Seneda Varez, she's recovering for an injury, which is the reason why she was on the bench, which now I'm trying to figure out when on earth did she get an injury for not even playing. And then we have plenty of call-ups for our Lady Aguilas, which is really great to see. First, 14-year-old Monses Sadivar, our defender you've been seeing from games just starting for us. She got the call to the sub-17, which is really good, which is really great to see from her. It's only just the very beginning of her career with America, and look, she's getting herself on the sub-17 for just being only 14 years old, so that's great. Then for the sub-20, we have our goalkeeper Natalia Acuna gets called up to the sub-20 to go try with the team to the Netherlands, which is great to play against some friendlies. The same will be said for Montes Sadivar to be playing friendly matches in Spain against them. And then for the senior team, we have two cups. We have Justin Orejel and Daniela Espinosa getting a call up to the national team where they'll be playing against Colombia this month in the Estadio Azteca.
Interesting. So a lot of ladies going on international break. I'm gonna have a lot of them have some hopefully minutes in a Mexico jersey. But this is always good, right? This is always good stuff. It means that our players are doing the right thing, and means that we have a pretty good pool in regards to players. So I like it. Congratulations to those ladies who've made the roster, and again, hopefully, they continue to do so, and they continue to keep, filling in the eye of those managers that keep calling them up. So, like you mentioned, and our 14-year-old wonder star, she is, I mean, taking this league by storm. A lot of praises to her, and look at that, 14 years old, representing the national team and at the under 17 youth level. But I wouldn't be surprised if she gets a senior call up within the next couple of years.
Hey, anything is possible, like I mentioned. It's just the beginning of her career.
It definitely is just the beginning, and hopefully we get to see her blossom and really take off under an America jersey, which I think that's what we're seeing right now. So, let's keep that train going. All right, AJ. Well, let's move on into our next segment, our last segment here, and it is going to be America Family traveling to the border town of Juarez. So our ladies will be traveling tomorrow AJ, as this
Mm-hmm.
game is on Sundays, 8 a.m.
Ooh.
That is an early game for me. 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central, and of course, 11 o'clock Eastern for you, AJ. Coming into this one, obviously, we wanted better, a better result against Pumas, but still, yeah, I feel like you're looking at Juarez, who did get a victory
Mm-hmm.
um, against Mazatlan in their previous matchup, but that is the only victory they have this season, AJ. They've literally lost every single other game that they have had so far this season. And well, I mean, if you wanted to bounce back after a game like Pumas, I feel like this is the game to do so.
Yes, we definitely need it, but it is going to be an away match. And Craig mentioned before as well that this team has been traveling for 12 hours because they had games on the road, and it definitely drained them, and it definitely does have an impact. But same time, it's against a Juarez who's only secured their only victory, and in previous games against them, we've beaten them every single time, and our best margin being a 3-0-1 against them in, if I am not mistaken, in the 2019 Apertura, which is it's good things to see. Mostly we are always scoring goals right on them, which is what you like to see. But remember, when any team plays against America, they give their 110% and will do everything to their ability to make it a hard game for them.
Yeah, and I expect it to be a hard game for America. I'm not saying this is going to be a walk in the park, but I
Mm-hmm.
do think that this is a game where you try to, again, build on the fundamentals that you've been doing so and try to stay as focused as possible and go the full 90 minutes. Don't give us a tale of two halves. Go out there, play your game, and get an early goal. Really, I feel like we need to see more of that. I think we're leaving some of these goals a little bit late, and I think that's just dragging a little bit of that confidence down. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, AJ?
Really, with the force that we have in our squad, they definitely should just be scoring goals, in my opinion, left and right. Have fun, score some goals out there. 1, 2, 3. Do anything you can, because it seems like it's always got to be that tale of two half situation where in the second half they realize we have not scored a goal yet. Okay, give or take 1 to 5 minutes and we'll get ourselves a goal. And you've been seeing that from time and time and again. Or when where the other team has to respond with you with the goal, they're like, all right, let's score one back. Open it up with the lead. It's against the Juarez. They're not doing oh so hot. They're in 16th place. So really take advantage of it, considering they've also conceded 16 goals. Come on. Especially if whoever's going to be starting up front, they just got to get the goal from the get-go, open those floodgates, and from there on out, just keep it like that from there. Just try to score goals on the FC Juarez side, left and right.
And I think you mentioned it perfectly, right? The whoever's starting up top is going to have a big responsibility in bagging some of these goals tomorrow on Sunday night, not Sunday night, excuse me, Sunday morning. Again, it's just weird times, right? It's weird kickoff times.
I at least I can actually have breakfast. I don't have
Breakfast and
breakfast
Lady
that often.
Aguilas. That's the perfect combination for a Sunday morning, if you ask me.
It's
But
perfect.
okay, AJ, we talked a little bit about this potential striker bagging in a couple goals. Give me your predicting starting 11, and maybe we can go off of that and then keep on talking about who needs to do what and what needs to happen.
It's going to be a doozy for this one, considering international break and all that. So if this line is not even correct, then don't get too upset at me. Baxter is going to be your starting goalkeeper. Your back four consists of Monica Rodriguez. We're going to have Gabi Lozada there. Janely Farias, Kime Rios. 2 players who have not played, I think, at all this season. So for that, Amanda Perez, Cascuevas. I'd see a youngster in Zaira Moreno gain some playing time at least somewhere at any point. Your front is going to consist of Monset on the left. You're going to have Luber on the right. And up front, you're going to have Blue.
That is an interesting lineup. It's not our strongest lineup, but it is not our weakest lineup either. I feel like it's a good balance. And whilst it's a little bit closer to the weaker side of things, I don't think that this side necessarily struggles too much against Juarez. But again, what do I know? I mean, the game could be completely 180 from what we're talking about. But again, quality on the pitch, I think we'll have it.
Yeah, no. I feel like this would be it. You have Gabi Lozada, who used to play lots of matches for America Femenil when she first started in Copa MX, though it's in this season where she has yet to see the pitch at all, or even just step on it, I should say, rather than see, because she's always seeing it from the bench. But yes, I know she's not that much of a fan for considering how not so great her defense can be at times, but this could be a game where things are different. Considering I know we're not having the Espinosa or Justin Hart because they're going to be training the same day that America Femenil plays. So I assume they would not even be able to play at all in this match, or maybe they do. Who knows how that is? But Jimena Rios, when she first started playing for us, lots of promise in her. For a left back, she gets called up to the U teams, participated in tournaments, just hasn't seemed to be much in favor this season because you have players either like Karen Luna on the left hand side or Montse Saldivar just taking that spot up. Zaira Moreno, she's solid. I think she's one for this America Feminine side in the near future. Can do good things on the pitch. She's definitely got a rocket of a shot on her when we saw her score her first goal. And then with Lubert, she's been impressing me actually. Some people are questioning why did we get a Konko another number 9. She can play on the wings and even as a forward if necessary. She's been impressing me so far. Almost scored in her first game. Unfortunately, got ruled offside. She did bag her first assist in the Custom Capitalino and got a taste of what it is like to be playing a Custom. It's good. And with Blue, let's keep scoring some more goals. I would like to see a goal or two from her because hey, I gotta make more gifts of her. So and for anyone else on this on this team. So I'll be happy to provide anyone on the America Feminine squad with gifts. Simple as that.
Yeah, I know you would. So, like I keep mentioning, ladies, if for whatever reason you're listening to this and you are interested in a gift of you, make sure you let our boy AJ know here, or submit any request over on our DMs at EY Podcast. Again, we're here to serve you guys, right? Or we're at your guys' disposal. But you're right. I think we have an interesting attack going forward. That doesn't scare me. I think the big thing for me is that midfield and the fact that Janely Farias is missing her center back partner for this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of responsibility in holding the fort down is going to fall on her and Renata Mascherelli, how well she can orchestrate that defense back there. That's going to be an interesting kind of, dilemma to look after. But for the most part, I believe that this is going to be a game where some of these players that maybe necessarily don't get the starting minutes come in and step up and do a job.
Yeah, no, just these players, like you're finally going to be playing. You're going to get a chance that you usually don't get, and it is a time as well where you want to see some of these players that you have, youngsters, where the guys at Moreno, just get yourself some minutes out there. You need to fulfill the league requirements after all for youth players, but just also for the other players who used to play a lot in a Jamaica jersey under Cuellar. It's under a whole completely new manager. Who knows if this could even be your last season, or you'll still be here. Just you're not will be favored as much. But given a reason for Craig to like, okay, you're a solid backup. I'll keep you in the squad. Or if there's any time where I feel like I need to do a change in the lineup, I can rely on you completely. Like looking at defense like Jimena Rios, very promising. She's good. While may not have the greatest of games recently, maybe things can be different this time around. And for Gaby Lozada, hey, try to find her old self that we had during the 2017-2018 season where she was just one of the brick walls in defense. So, but for all these players, see what they can do against FC Juarez, who's only won one game this season so far. Let's add another loss to their record.
Yeah, let's keep that loss train going for them, and hopefully that Mazatlan was just a hiccup in their season,
Mm-hmm.
But rightfully so. I think you mentioned some very good key points to mention in regards to some of these players, and at the end of the day, we just want to see a good matchup, right? We want to see a good 90 minutes unfold for America Femenil and get those goals in, bag them up, and move, keep it moving for the season. Because again, things are not on the lighter side of things after Juarez. I mean, I'm just I'm just kind of looking at what our schedule is looking like, and you got Cruz Azul afterwards, Chivas, Tijuana, Monterrey. I mean, the matches come thick and fast. Let's be honest. So a lot of doubts, a lot of questions as to whether or not we're ready for the big teams. But at this point, you got 2 games in where you need to start kind of ironing out all those details. And it's against Juarez and it's against Mazatlan, but they are on the road. but I think it's exactly what America needs to fortify everything that they've been trying to implement. And now, hopefully, once we get to the Cruz Azuls, to the Chivas, to the Monterreys and Tigres of this league, that we can finally be considered a proper title contender.
Yeah, no. And just as well, like after the FC Juarez game, it's the international break. So they won't have another game for 12 days. This could be the time as well where Harrington can look because you're at the halfway mark after FC Juarez. That's it. Look over everything you've done from past results. Look at the players. What's working well? What's not working well? Check the drawing board if necessary. Look at the formations and see what you can do around there. If you think everything's good, then good. Well, for me, there's some little hiccups in there that could definitely be fixed. But after that, when you get play against Mazatlan, tough 6 games at that point, at which it is very crucial that we get points out of them from each game, like you mentioned. Azul, Chivas, Xolos, Rayadas, Atlas, and Tigres. The last game of the season will be against Leon, which they're not doing so good as well. But that's going to vary as well how these other 6 games are going to be for you, whether they'll be in good form or in bad form. But only future will tell. I ain't trying to think about those right now. For now, we look at Juarez from there. That's all we focus on.
Yeah, let's focus on Juarez. Let's get the job done there. Like you mentioned, a lot of interesting matches. I think it's crunch time already afterwards. And again, we'll have to wait and see whether or not these ladies are up to the task and up for the challenge. But all right, AJ, I think we talked a little bit more than enough about this Mazatlan. This Juarez game. Mazatlan will be next week. Give me your prediction for the game on Sunday. What are you going with?
I'm going with this match 2-0.
2-0. I like it. I like it as much as I would love a clean sheet. Trust me, I do. I would absolutely love one. I would go with a 2-1 victory for America. I think we can get 2 goals, but I do think we still concede it. I don't think Janely Frias can do it all, and I think the defense might have a hiccup here or there. We have a question from Mr. Zar Castle 04. Juarez, question mark, no es Mazatlan. No.
The men's
Juarez
side
is...
For the men's side, it's against Mazatlan.
Yeah.
For ladies...
For the men's side, it's for the men's, Mazatlan. For the ladies, Juarez. And flip that around for the ladies as they have Mazatlan the following jornada. Not the following week, the following jornada. So, interesting stuff right there, AJ. 2-0. I'm going 2-1. Either way, 3 points on the road is crucial for Harrington. And I really do hope he plans this game to go all out, attack, dominate this game, have a very possessive side that can dominate for a majority of this, game. I don't want a tale of two halves to be the narrative once more, but for the most part, I'm looking forward to it. I think things are promising.
Same. Sunday morning, like I said, I could actually have breakfast, which I usually don't have really most of these days, only on Tuesdays and Sundays. So, hey, have some food in my belly and then watch America Femenil play. So, perfect start to my Sunday morning.
Perfect start to the Sunday morning. I like it. Well, let's hope that it ends with a perfect morning with America Femenil and 3 points. We'll be back, though, to talk about that next week. Well, we'll have to iron out those details as to when, what day, what time, all that stuff. But we will be talking about this game, and we'll be previewing the upcoming match against Mazatlan. It is an international break, so we'll see how we maneuver our schedule here at the Eagle Eye Podcast. But again, we will be talking about this game. We will recap it all. And AJ is going to have you guys covered minute by minute over on the Eagle Eye Podcast Twitter account. AJ, is this game going to be live streamed by all?
Oh, it's an away match, so that's one thing. So I won't be too sure. But because looking at this website, it does say it is on TUDN. So I would hope, considering it's an early morning match, it'd be on TUDN USA. I hope, please.
Well, I mean, if you give me one quick minute here, I think I probably can give you the answer. Let's see. That game's going to be on Sunday at 8 a.m. Well, AJ, they have some Europa and some UEFA Europa and Conference League roundup.
Oh,
so
God. Well,
we'll try to find you guys a link. Let's just put it that way. So back back to the YouTube we go, AJ. Pain Central. But all right, AJ, I think that pretty much wraps it up for us here, don't you think?
Yep, it's all good.
All good. All righty then, AJ. Well, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you to everyone that was listening. Thank you to everyone that asked the question. And thank you to everyone that continues to support the ladies. Use the hashtag Lady Aguilas on Twitter to show your support. And we hope that our ladies are capable of not only just grabbing these 3 points, but giving us a well-rounded match. And where hopefully we come back and talk about that in a better lighting than we did against the Clásico Capitolino. But all right, AJ, that pretty much wraps it up for us here. Follow us on the Eagle Eye Podcast at Eagle Eye Podcast, whether that be Twitter, Facebook, and or Instagram. We'll have you guys covered with all things Lady Aguilas. We'll keep you guys up to date with all the news in regards to Kiana Palacio returning, Ribeiro injury updates, Eva Gonzalez, how's she doing? Again, as much as we know, we will let you guys know as well. But alrighty then, you guys take it easy. Be safe, wear your masks out there, and as always, Arriba la América. Good night, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.